Hello. Some of you have been asking what's happened to Idris Elba. He's there. He's just chilling out, just hanging around. So what we're going to look at today are how effective are the controls on delegated legislation. So I'm going to go through some good points. Remember, you've got judicial controls and you've got parliamentary controls. So I'll kind of combine those in some evaluation. And then I'm going to go through the bad things and how the controls are not that effective. Okay, so firstly, good points. So why the controls are good and why they are effective. So first of all, enabling acts do set out clear guidance for bodies to follow in terms of power and procedures. So there are clear procedures, and this is a good thing because it is written down in the Act of Parliament. So it's very clear and it has to be followed. Secondly, scrutiny committees can draw Parliament's attention to points that need extra consideration. So the fact that these committees exist is a good thing because they can call out Parliament. They can say, hang on a minute, you really need to look at this point carefully. Thirdly, the controls are balanced. We don't want too many controls on delegated legislation. The whole point is that Parliament gives the power to somebody else. So it shouldn't have to keep checking every single thing this other body is doing. So you can kind of say as a good point that, yes, there are some controls, but there aren't too many. So it is balanced. Having too many controls would defeat the whole purpose of delegated legislation. And then finally, one of the points I thought of is that Parliament is still sovereign. It still retains overall control. So at any stage, Parliament can repeal, like cancel, the Enabling Act and remove the powers given. So controls are fairly effective, but I think the kind of crucial point is we don't actually want too many controls. Okay, then looking at some of the negative points about controls, I would say the fact that most statutory instruments become law through negative resolution procedure is problematic. Remember that negative resolution procedure, you leave the statutory instrument with Parliament for 40 days, and if they don't reject it, it automatically becomes law. So the fact that most statutory instruments aren't actually looked at is problematic. Secondly, the fact that when we talked about a body acting ultra vires, an individual has to bring a judicial review case. So it relies upon the individual realising that the body may have acted ultra vires and actually knowing that they can bring a case to court. Again, there's like another issue added onto this, that bringing a case to court is very expensive and it takes a lot of time, particularly in the civil courts. So in practice, how many cases are actually brought every year with somebody seeking judicial review? I don't know the answer to that. Maybe if someone does, please comment. The next bad point, I guess, is that you have to challenge a public body or the government. So think about equality. In law, we talk about something called equality of arms. So both parties must be on an equal footing. Lots of body parts here, arms and footing. So both parties must be on an equal footing. But think about it, you bringing a case against the government. I mean, who is going to be able to afford the top lawyers? It's going to be the government. It's going to be the big organisation that you challenge in court. So again, that's a problem because there is inequality. The parties in the court case are not on an equal footing in judicial review. And then finally, the fact that those scrutinising the law, so the people checking all the laws, may not have enough expertise. They may be checking through these laws, but some of these laws can be very, very technical, particularly like financial things, and mistakes may happen and bad laws may actually be made. So a question on controls could come up. It could be like, explain what the parliamentary controls are, explain what the judicial controls are, or you could get a discuss how effective the controls are. So if it's a general discuss one, I would go with like 2 good points, well developed, and then 2 bad points, well developed. I mean, technically they could split it into what are the good things about controls and what are the bad things. Less likely to come up as a question, but it's still a possibility. So hopefully that video will have helped a bit.